Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
In Leviticus 19, God gives guidelines for practical holiness. Practical holiness is to show respect and honor. First, God's people show respect for their parents because they play a primary role in the family. Secondly, God's people show respect for the Sabbath. You see, Israelites are not slaves to work or material riches, but they give time to develop the relationship with God. The problem is, idols promise good life and prosperity, but God's people must not be enslaved to prosperity and riches, and so they must stay away from idols. Another example here in this chapter is about how somebody will harvest their fields. Again, Israelite farmers must not harvest everything in their fields. They must leave some crops for the poor who are willing to work with their own hands and supply for their needs. Verse 11 to 18 talks about how we should treat our friends and family with respect. For example, Israelites must not spread slander or lies about others. They must be honest and respect their friends and family. They must respect truth. Also, Israelites must not hold back the wages of their employees. They must respect people who work for them. Verse 19 to 37 speaks of respect for nature. Verse 19, for example, talks about unnatural combinations. You see, Christian believers today may not be able to follow these laws in a literal sense, but this talks about how we should be careful about genetic manipulation and techniques of human fertilization. This chapter talks about how Israelite masters must show respect to slaves also. For example, if a master has a female slave, he must honor her rights to be married to another and live a life of her own. Also, an Israelite father who has got a daughter must not misuse his authority as a father. He must not sell her as a temple prostitute simply because he has fallen on hard times. Similarly, Israelites must honor the elders of their society because elders have wisdom that they have acquired over the years. Verse 33 to 34 talks about how Israelites must respect their immigrants. Natives of the land should not feel superior, like Pharaoh of Egypt showed a sense of superiority over Israelite slaves. In all this, Israel must be holy. That means they need to be set apart, different from other nations in how they treat other people with respect. Verse 23 to 25 also talks about how Israel must show respect for the natural world. For example, they must enable trees to grow healthily in the early years. This will ensure that the harvest will be increased. Friends, believers today may not think of these words from God as something connected with holiness or spirituality. Many times, holiness is a very spiritualized word, but holiness is a practical word. It can be practiced even in our ordinary life, in our business relationships, and in our family relationships. Here in this chapter, we see how respecting immigrants, disabled people, elders, and our neighbors also comes under the category of holiness. Finally, in this chapter, we also read about how believers should not engage in demonic practices. God has revealed His will to His people, and even when His will is not clear, believers must trust God for their future. They must not practice divination or sorcery to find out their future or change their future. Believers must not consult the dead. In ancient Israel, they shaved one's head or had a particular lifestyle or made tattoos in their bodies. These were all part of pagan religious activity. Believers need to be careful about following any religious practice to get blessed or become prosperous. Friends, in all these things, what we understand today is that we must not follow the patterns of the world in how we treat others. Even today, we can apply the broader principles taught through these laws and find out the wisdom and will of God for our practical lives.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.